sell tickets to your own events. There's lots and lots of ways you can do this. Events do need tickets. It doesn't matter like how big the event is. At some point, you need some way to sort of keep track of what you're selling, and then to be able to reconcile at the end. And also, I guess, to understand who's going to be there for things like insurance purposes, for compliance purposes, with reporting to government agencies. If you're working in a government contract, you need tickets. You need some record of who is going to be there. But not all the tickets are the same, and not all the systems are the same. They've got various different ones. Some do half the job, some do all the jobs, some are just so complex, and some are just downright expensive. So we're going to look at one, and amongst all these, which are probably some of the more popular ones. I've used all four of these, in fact. Eventbrite I love. Who doesn't love Eventbrite? It's the biggest out there. It's they kind of took the whole ticketing thing and made it kind of as easy as they could for something quite complex. Sticky tickets are very, very similar, but I think their interface is much more simple, but they don't quite have the same level of features that Eventbrite do. Try Booking has lots of features, has lower fees than Eventbrite, but it is just a head case to actually use. It's really complicated, and I've used it for a couple of not-for-profits that I've done work for as a volunteer before, and it just was nasty to use. Though Humanitix is the alternative. Humanitix is kind of like, think of it as a clone of Eventbrite, but it's got a few extra features that make it really quite compelling. Humanitix is Australian owned. It's a not-for-profit, so they are a not-for-profit startup, like a tech company based out of Sydney. They donate their booking fees to children's education programs. So one of them could be helping to educate young girls in impoverished areas of the Philippines. Another one is providing scholarships for Aboriginal kids from remote areas to go to a boarding schools. So there's lots of other ways. They support projects in Africa as well, and in South America. So you can actually, as part of what you do with them, if you're collecting any sort of, if you're collecting paid events, then you can choose which projects that the booking fees go to on behalf of. So you can say this month, this particular event, I want to support this project. But this month I want to support this project. And whilst per ticket it's only a small amount, it adds up over a year. I think they said in the last quarter of last year, in last year they gave away over $1.5 million to charities. So it's something which is a not-for-profit with a small team in Sydney that is really helpful, but they're there for a very different reason than most tech companies and these websites are. And they've got excellent functionality. It's essentially a clone of Eventbrite. It does all the things that Eventbrite does, but does them, I think, slightly better. And it's kind of gives you more options to opt out of some of the stuff the Eventbrite makes you opt into. And the fees are considerably lower. So it's got all the functionality, but it has got an actual live person or people, a live team of people who will support you in Sydney. So if you're a member, paid or free, you will get live support from a real person. They'll even call you. It's excellent. I've had support when they onboard you. They actually do a personal onboarding. So someone from their Sydney office will actually onboard you. Some of them work from home, so sometimes you get someone who's working from home in Wellington in New Zealand. But the point is, it's actually real people there, which is really, really different. Now the event pages look really good. They're really pretty. They pretty much mimic that layout of Eventbrite. So you sort of have your own whole branding approach to it. So whatever your photos, whatever your graphics are, you can put them in there. There's also, and I'm just going to show you this a little bit later, but doing those graphics is actually integrated with Canva within the booking system. So as you're creating your event, you actually have the option to go into your Canva and work with your brand and create your own graphics from your own Canva account. So it's a really, really sweet thing. I think Eventbrite may be doing that now. I haven't used Eventbrite to create anything for a while, but I do use Eventbrite as a partner with Business Station. Just sip my cup of tea there. When you talk so much, your throat starts to get very dry very quickly. And it's also very, very mobile friendly. The second one is that you can sell merchandise alongside your ticket. So in this case, there's like the Humanitix Super Summer, which is like a big conference, and you can buy a t-shirt or buy a camping tent to camp at this big conference as well. So you've got the ability to not just sell the tickets, but sell accompanying merchandise with that as well. So let's say some, notepads. You've got stickers you want to sell. You've got caps and gear and swag that you want to sell alongside it. Well, people can book their ticket and also order their swag as well, and then they can pick it up from you at the event, or you can post it out to them. But usually, what happens, they pick it up at the event with their ticket, which is really like a convenient way for you to get rid of some stuff if you're operating at an event that has enough people that you would have merchandise. It's a really cool way of doing it. And if you've got really cool merchandise to go with your tickets, there's no reason why you can't sell it. And you've got options too in sizes. So you can select the size of the t-shirts, colors of the t-shirts, that sort of thing. It's just like a real little e-commerce platform now. Now, they've got very complex ticketing and very simple ticketing. So you can just go a ticket for one with a concession price. There could be, buy a certain amount of tickets and you get a certain discount as well. So that's a really good way to do it. So you can have discount for bulk bookings, basically. They've got tools that allow you to do it. One thing I used for an event and was November for a annual general meeting for a particular not-for-profit that I do work for, if I do volunteer for, was seat maps. So we had sort of an auditorium space with 8 different large tables of 10, and what people could do is choose the table they wanted to sit at. So all I had to do was number the tables. People had their table number and seat numbers, and they could choose where they could sit. So people could sit with people they knew. They could see who was sitting where. So they go, oh yeah, we'll make sure we sit next to her because we know her. So that was a really nice little touch that they had, and really, really simple to use too. As long as you select the seat map option, it allows you to do it. There's human support. So I said that before. They will actually help you with setting up any part of your event, whether it's a free or a paid one. So they're there to help. You can offer wait lists for things that are sold out, and you can check in using your attendees using the app. So there's a Humanitix app that allows you to then check in people as they're coming in. So you can scan the QR code with your phone, and it checks them into the event. So you've got good you've got really good records of who turned up. So that's always a really good option and helps with your all your different compliance reasons. What they call VIP management is that it allows you to scan a ticket and then be able to tell whether that person is a VIP or someone who needs to go into it, be treated in a special way. You can flag those in the system. There's an email system in there which allows you to email reminders and all sorts of other things as well. People can update their account details or their ticket details without actually having to log in, which is really cool. So it uses like a secure token that allows people to go and update their details without you having to go and update things for them. They can just update it themselves. You can assign tickets later on, which is so your customers say can buy 3 tables of tickets all at one go, and then you can assign where those people are sitting later on. You don't have to assign them straight away. There's also a really good Teams process. So what happened was when Business Station set theirs up, they then allowed us to so I needed access to the Business Station account for Humanitix. So they just said, you go get a free account with Humanitix and we'll add you to it. So I did that, and now I've got access to it as well because they've added me as an access to it. Great question from Claire is whether you can sell digital products with Humanitix. No, you can't. It has to be a physical product that they actually pick up. What you could do though, I suppose, is still have it as a physical product, but then you can have an automatic email that goes out after it. So there's sort of workflows involved, which is say, if they bought this thing, send them an email. I'm not entirely sure how that works. I haven't done an audio file. I've only done a physical product before. So for audio files, it may be a little bit different. But as far as I know, you can't just do a digital product. You've got to do something else. But what you can do is with the tickets, for instance, you can have 2 different types of tickets. So the first type of ticket is entry without download. Then you could have a second type of ticket, which is ticket with download. And then the ticket with download would have a follow-up email that you would have scheduled to send to people who actually ordered that kind of ticket, would then get that email with that link through to the download. You can't you can't use this as an e-commerce platform though. So you've got to sell tickets in order to be able to sell the products on the side. You can't just sell products. So it's not a full e-commerce suite. It's just a ticketing system that allows you to add on some e-commerce functionality to it. But that's a very good question, Claire. Thank you for clarifying that one. It got lots of reports, lots of analytics of who was there, how many were sold, how much you made, all that sort of thing. So you get a good rundown of how much you've made on the event for payouts. This is a very big difference. With the credit card, you can take payments through their own system, Humanitix payments, or Stripe. So I use Humanitix payments because there's no extra fees on top of it. Whereas if you had to go through Stripe, you would then have both Humanitix payments and Stripe, and then you'd have a fee from Stripe on top of it all. For invoicing, you can generate invoices for clients to pay. They don't have to necessarily pay at the time, so you can invoice. Particularly, it's good for corporates who need to have an invoice. You can do gift cards or gift vouchers, and the funds on demand is really good. Now, they usually pay within 7 days of the event, so the event stops, the event has happened, and then 7 days later you get paid. But if you need to get paid along the way, say, for instance, you've been taking ticket bookings for the last 3 months, they will actually can arrange for you to get payment along the way. So all you do is just basically reach out to them and say, hey, I need some different payout options. What can we do? And they'll work out with you what a payment option is. It's the beauty of them being a bit smaller and being a not-for-profit. They understand that sometimes we need to pay the decorators and we need to pay the caterers and we need to pay for the room along the way. And we are doing that out of the ticket sales, not out of the profit at the end, because we have to pay these people up front. You can embed your ticket sales in your website with a widget, which is just pretty much table stakes these days. You'd expect to be able to do that. You can schedule reminders and follow-up emails. You can even send out an extra email on behalf of a sponsor, if there's a sponsor, or a VIP VIP sponsor or something like that who gets special access to. They don't get access, you send it for them, but I use it mainly for reminders. And you can also use it, say for instance, if you've got sort of a bit of time before your event and you've got another speaker, you can send out an announcement email to the people who have booked to say, special announcement to those of you who are booked, we've got an extra speaker that's coming in, get excited, that sort of thing. You can also allocate codes for discounts. So if you're giving away like a free code to maybe your staff, they can book in there with the free code for staff, or you can allocate codes on various discounts at different levels. One of the things though that's very, very cool here is a referral and partnership affiliate code, which allows you to give an affiliate code to, say, for instance, if you want to say to your staff, hey, if you're able to generate a sale for someone to our $1,000 conference, make sure that those people use your affiliate code, because we'll pay you $100 for that. So that affiliate code then allows you to track who needs to get paid what when it comes to commission. So it's a good little system for that. And it's a great way for you if you're trying to organize a conference, and some small businesses do, to be able to do that. Now, I mentioned before the built-in Canva graphics. This is an easy way for you to design all sorts of things like your promotion stuff in there that takes into account what's actually in your festival, in your event. So I'll take the event information and help you turn that into a Canva graphic. And also, the ability to be able to design your actual event graphics in Canva using your account and your stuff. Price-wise, there's a significant difference with Eventbrite and Humanitix. So Eventbrite and Humanitix both do free events for free. So pretty much all the events I do with them through Business Station are free. So we don't get any sort of charges for that. For standard events that are going to be paid, Eventbrite is 5.35% plus $1.19 service fee plus a credit card fee on top of that. So the credit card fee is, say, for instance, going through Stripe or PayPal or something like that. That's all on top of what their fees are. Now, what you do, those fees are generally all packaged into the amount that the guest will pay. You're not necessarily paying that. So what it does, it's that very annoying ticketing thing where you go to any event and it's like, Ticketmaster, any of those guys, where you go in there, Mosh-Tix, you go and say, okay, it's a $30 ticket plus booking fee plus this fee plus that fee plus this fee. Everyone takes a fee. It's freaking ridiculous. You just wish they'd just put it all in one price and it'd be much more easy to know what you're doing. Humanitix is 4% plus 99 cents. Now, this is for regular businesses, not for not-for-profits and charities. So 4% plus 99 cents. Now, for charities, and I believe for not-for-profits, and our not-for-profits have certainly got this this set up for them, is that there is an essentials package that's available in Eventbrite, but it's sort of hidden away in a page that's mentioned in a help file that's not mentioned anywhere else on their website. And there's not really any sort of clarity on who it's for. It just says that it's got limited availability. So I'm assuming that that's what they are offering for charities. But it's like about 2.9% plus 49 cents plus credit card fee. So it's still a little bit more than Humanitix, who for charities, not for profits, is at 2.5% per transaction plus 50 cents, because they use their own payment processor. You don't have to then pay for the credit card charge on something like Stripe or PayPal. You've already got it built in through them. So there's no integration with Square. Sorry. So if anyone's using Square and they want to integrate with that, there is no current integration with Square payments on either of those platforms. Humanitix is pretty impressive to have their own payments platform, and it certainly does bring the cost down a lot. So they're obviously able to get a great deal with their bank because they are a not-for-profit. So they're able to pass on those savings to you. And because they don't have to pay shareholders, they've certainly got much lower overheads than what someone like Eventbrite has got. So let's take a look under the hood and see what Humanitix looks like. It's going to move my little Zoom has a little bar that sort of takes everything over, and it makes it very hard to work with. And then you've got lots of bits of Zoom that's sticking over things. So here's what the actual website looks like. You can search for events that are in your area. So let's just take, for instance, I'm in Brisbane at the moment. So I'm going to go looking for things that are in Brisbane, and I can see events on in my local area. Or if I go to, say, Darwin, where I'm actually from, I can look for Darwin NT Australia and look for events that have been booked in there. So someone's doing a review. Oh, that's interesting. Someone's doing a book reading from Brene Brown's Dare to Lead. I did not know that. That's pretty awesome, actually. I might actually have to go and go to that. That sounds fun. And they've also got like, all these local things, including things I'm doing, 24th of January, doing a 3 digital tools that will save you time as part of Workforce Australia's Entrepreneurship Facilitators program, the No Women Left Behind conference with a headliner of Grace Tame. I'm definitely going to that. I definitely want to hear what she has to say. And then you can just look at all sorts of different events that are on. But what you really want to do is log in and host your own events. So if I go log in, you can go sign up because I've already got an account. You go sign up and sign up your stuff. So bear in mind, when you first sign up and set up an event, they will need to do a phone call with you just to do some verification to make sure that you are who you say you are and you've got all your details correct for the payout of paid events. If you're just doing free events, you can just tell, hey, no need, I'm just doing free events. So I've got here in mind, I've got a best-selling event in the last 7 days, so I can see the things I'm doing. Yoga classes was something I was playing with when I was doing a demo, so I'll do another demo with you on about how that works. I can see what my orders have been like. I look at my different channels. I can look at over the last 7 days, what's been selling, what's been not selling, and see I've got 6 tickets sold so far to this 3 digital tools that will save you time. So it looks like I've got a few sales. I can go into each of my events at the top here. So events at the top will then list the events that I've currently got published in the system. So I've got 3 people booked out of a capacity of 10 for sustainable pricing, 3 people booked out of the capacity 10 for the 3 digital tools, and the other 3 are in February. So I don't expect those to have bookings yet. I can look at my past events. I can see all my past events, ideas for new businesses, handling confrontation is in the past. I can look at what's been archived. I've archived a whole bunch of old things as well from old events from a long, long time ago. LinkedIn local events I usually run through here as well. If I want to set up a new event, then I go to create event up the top here. So create event, and I'm creating this in my case for myself. I'm going to continue. I'm actually going to pull out a real event that I'm running on LinkedIn. So that's not how you spell LinkedIn, Dante. Gosh, it's not that late in the week that we're making spelling mistakes like that, are we? All right, let's have a look at the event that I'm doing next week, which is the role of social media in 2023. So this is a live stream that I'm doing, but I'm also going to be doing it on Zoom, so I can allow people to buy tickets. So I'm going to take this event information, I'm going to turn it into a ticketed event on Humanitix. So I'm going to call it that. We're going to see when it's going to be. So it is on Wednesday, January 25 at 12 o'clock my local time, which means 11:30 in Darwin time. So I'm going to go Wednesday, January 25, the week after next, sorry. It's going to be at 11:30 Here we go, 30 a.m. There we go to 12:30 p.m. on the 25th. So it's now you can have recurring events. So for instance, you've got a series and people can book in for the series. You can set a recurring set of dates. In this case, I'm just going this one. Where is it going to be located? It's going to be an online thing. So I'm going to go online and I can have a URL for people to go and actually watch the event. So I'm going to put it in the URL for the event on LinkedIn because that's primarily what it's going to be, or I can do the Facebook live event as well. So I'm actually live streaming this out on Facebook as well. So if I look for under me, my business page, and look for an event under there. So look for my events. I'll be able to see it come up here, the role of social media here. So if I want to make it easier for people who are maybe not on LinkedIn and maybe on Facebook, I can get the Facebook address of that event so people can check in that because most people have Facebook these days. So I can go back into my Humanitix. I'm going to put that as my meeting event. I'm going to say meeting is held on Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, Twitter Live, and what else I'll do? YouTube Live. See your confirmation email. So I'm going to set myself a complicated email here. Confirmation email for links to each platform. So I'm not doing this as an in-person thing. This is a live online. I'm doing it in Australian currency, even though I'm not charging anything. I go next and it then wants to do the detail. So I can do myself a banner. So I can either design it in Canva using my stuff in Canva, or I can upload an image. So I'm just going to upload an image of that I've already done for this particular one. So I'm going to go to Facebook and download the event image I've done. This one here. Download, back in the Humanitix, upload it. Now it may not come out the right size, but it's pretty close. Yeah, it's actually really close. So I can just make sure I sort of don't cut anything off too much, especially my terrible pore-ridden skin. What's going on there? That's what happens when you mess too much with the settings on Photoshop. It does all sorts of weird and wonderful things to you. So there's my image with my great big face in front of it. I can now put the information in about the event. So I'm just going to copy that over from LinkedIn. So I'll just copy out this writing here, put it into Humanitix. Yeah, it's copied it all across. Who's running the event is me. I can have a category in there. So it's going to be a workshop. I don't have a refund policy because I'm not charging for it. So I continue. And now this is where my tickets are going to come in. So I'm going to put a ticket capacity of 100 because 1,000 really. We can have as many as we like for people to book that. So it gives me a capacity of 1,000. What I could do is have different kinds of pricing, paid, free. I could have concession pricing, all that sort of thing. But then you've got to make sure that people then prove that they're concession buyers, and people generally can be pretty damn dishonest online, to be honest. I've done this before and had 2 tiers of pricing, and everyone always chooses the lower tier of concession. It's funny how, I don't know, a 45-year-old man can actually have a concession rate to have in there. You can collect the name for each attendee. I like to do that because I want to get the name of everybody who's attending. You can add a donation in there. So for instance, you can have a donation to either yourself or a donation to a cause that you've got on there. If I save that draft now, I can then go and publish this. So if I look at it then, I want to make sure I've got everything right. Okay, I go publish. It'll then ask me if I want to notify my 46 followers on Humanitix. I actually do. So I'm going to actually put that in. That's going to let them know that they can book for this event. The problem is, though, if you notice one thing, I haven't set the reminder emails yet. So the reminder emails then need to be done after you've done the actual event. So I've got the event in there. I want to view what the event looks like. Here it is. So it looks really nice. Got everything together. Got my profile on there, got my followers on there. So I've got all that stuff I need to have. Now what I really need to do is set up the email. So over here where it says email campaigns, that's where we're now going to set up the reminder emails. So in this one, I've got all the reminder emails set up for my previous events. What I'm going to do is a new campaign. I've got different things I can do. So in this case, I'm going to do the event reminder email. And I'm going to call this social 2023. I put the date, which is 25th of the 1st, 23, 48 hours. And the reason I'm calling it that is this is the email that's going to happen 48 hours, so 2 days before the event. So I'll select the event I want it to relate to, this one. Then I'll select the date it relates to. So if you've got like a recurring event, you can say it's like this date or it's that date. In this case, I've only got the one. I want to send it to all the buyers and the attendees, so to everyone who's got a ticket. I can use personalization. So in it there, it's already got a bit in there. It's got this @event name is coming up soon. So I can say it's coming up now. What was Thursday the 25th? Thursday the 25th is, ignore my horrible looking calendar, is 25th is a Wednesday. So Thursday 25th is a Wednesday. I want to go then coming up this Wednesday. And then I can put the time in there. So the time was, well, it's actually different times in different places. So I'm just going to say this Wednesday rather than actually putting a time in there, because different people can be booking this from anywhere in the world. So it's coming this Wednesday. I'm going to include the event banner and the event location and date, so that information's already in there. I'm going to just add in now, hello first name. So hello, Katrina, if your name's Katrina. This is a friendly reminder that this event is coming up on Wednesday. I'm going to take out most of these things. I don't really need all that sort of stuff. So please remember, what I do want to add in there is, if you're, you can join the workshop online via the following links. So I can say Facebook Live and then put in the Facebook Live event location link. I can go LinkedIn Live. Go to the LinkedIn link, just here. So we go in there, put in that link. Twitter Live, which is by follow me at clickstarter.au. And YouTube Live. If I go to my YouTube channel, I'll be able to grab that from there. Let's go to YouTube, go to my YouTube channel, go to the live tab, and here it is here. So I'll just copy that link. So I'm going to go share and grab the link there. And then I've got the link to that one as well. So it's, funnily enough, it tends to embed it. So I don't really want it to embed. I just want the link. So I'll go, no, it's just going to embed it anyway. That's okay, because they can play it within the email. So you play on the email, it'll work. Then I can sign it off. No kind regards or anything like that they want to add on to it. That's all now done. I can send it out then 2 days before the event, which is what I want. I can sort of preview what that email is going to look like. Hi, John. Friendly reminder, the role of social media hint is coming up on Wednesday. Got the links in there. They can press play on this to go in there, or they can set it to remind them with the bell notification. Here's all the information. They can contact me. I'm going to verify and schedule that now so that we've got our event. Stopping me from doing it. I'm not entirely sure why. Let me see what I've done wrong. Doesn't look like I've done anything wrong. It's just being fussy. It needs me to close that first. There we go. The chat thing was in the way. It gives me a chance to make sure you've got everything right before you send it. I definitely do. And it's now scheduled it. So social 2023, there it is there. Now I want to do 2 hours before the event too. So I'm going to duplicate that one. And I'm going to go in and just change it and call this one 2 hours. And I'm going to change the email down here, all the way down. It's coming up in 2 hours, or starts in 2 hours. So now I'll change this to say is coming up in 2 hours time. So I'll just change all the references to it. All the other information is exactly the same, but I do want to change that instead of 2 days to 0 days and 2 hours. So I've got before it 2 hours. So I can also send emails afterwards to thank people for joining me. So if I wanted to send like a marketing email out to them from here, I can. I just send it out as a, hey, thanks for joining. Hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to find out more, here's my newsletter that you can join. Let's preview it to make sure we got it right. Coming up in 2 hours time. Yes. There we go. So everything there is set up. So let's go verify and schedule. And now if anyone books that, they will get those reminder emails. I can set it like an immediate, they get an immediate booking confirmation anyway, but the booking confirmation doesn't have those links in it. It just says that you'll be sent a reminder of where those things are 2 days and 2 hours before. So I've now got an event. If I go to my events list, I can see my event is now live and ready to go. It's published. So I can then share that link. So I can copy the URL, or I can just view what it looks like, my event, and it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. People can now, go and book that out. They can get their tickets. They go to buy their tickets, general admission. They want to get one person there, enter their details, and off they go. And they're putting all their details in. Just the same as Eventbrite. In there, they used to be able to actually check which one it was, but because I'm not taking payment, there's no booking fee. So there's no booking fee. You don't choose where to send your booking fee. But once it's a paid one, you actually get to choose which of their children's charities you want to support with that particular event. So that's pretty much how you work with Humanitix. So we've looked under the hood of that to see what it's like. The second part of what we'll be looking at is with Calendly. And Calendly is often thought of as, a way to book in time with just a person. So in our case, though, we're not going to be doing that only. We're going to be looking at the possibility of using this for events and workshops as well. So it's not just good for one person, it's good for groups as well. I got a client with a yoga studio on the Sunshine Coast who's currently using this to take bookings for her yoga classes. So with Calendly, for me, the number one thing that I use it for is it ends that when are you available dance that we all do when we're trying to organize a time with someone to meet with us. So it's always like, I'm available Wednesday between 2 and 4 and Thursday between 1 and 3. And then they come back and say, oh, no, I'm not available at any of those. You got something else. Oh, maybe on Friday I'll be free. You don't get that. All I do is send them a link. Now, some people were thinking that's like a big, like an alpha male control move to send someone a link to book them in. I look at that and go, how is that when all I'm trying to do is make their life easier so they can pick a time when they know they're available and we don't have to go backwards and forwards. So I don't find it an obnoxious thing at all. When someone sends me a Calendly link, it's awesome because I've already got Calendly. Calendly already knows what's already booked in. It's already synced with my calendar. So I can immediately see what time's there and I'm available there in the interface. So for me, that's a fantastic tool, a fantastic reason for it. You can do that for yourself and have it linked through to your Google or Outlook email for free. You don't have to pay to have just that basic availability calendar where people can book in time with you and be notified of that with just one calendar connection. You can have that today for free. That's included with their free service. You can also be embedding your booking widget on your website. So if you say to people, rather than filling out a booking form or ringing a phone number, because honestly, I don't know who ever has the time to answer phones. I'm always on something, on a call, doing something. I don't have time to answer phones, but I do offer people a chance to book me in for a free 15-minute chat. So what I do is on my website, I have a very similar kind of looking thing like this, which is an embedded widget on my website that people can then go and select a time that suits them and suits me. And then it gives them that 15-minute time scheduled within my availability. For me, it makes sense to spread that across my websites. In fact, I'll show you how it works on one of my websites. Let's go over to this one. So on one of my businesses, Clickstarter, I've got book a call now. So book a call now. We'll go over to my Calendly, say book a 15-minute call. There you go. So someone can talk to me today. That's actually not true because I usually don't allow that within 24 hours. But at 2:15, someone can book me in for a chat. So then I'll put them to this. Now I pay for Calendly, so I can also have them send a text message reminder before it as well. And they can select then how we do that. So I've got connections through to Google, Zoom, and Microsoft Teams, as well as just a classic old school phone call as well. So it means that people can book me in at a time which suits both them and I, rather than we playing this game where we're trying to work out who's available when and why and how, and it just gets messy. So that's one of the main reasons I use it. And that the ability to embed that calendar on my website or link to that calendar from my website does make a massive difference. For syncing with your calendar, that's a very important part of it, because you don't want double bookings. I am the worst when it comes to double booking myself. If I don't have the calendar on me, say, yeah, Tuesday, I don't think I've got anything on 3. Maybe, yeah, we should be able to catch up at 3 and get back to the office. And sure enough, you can bet your bottom dollar I've got something on at 3. So what we do is sync this with our calendars. So you can sync with one calendar for the free version of Calendly. You got the paid version, you can sync with more than one. So for instance, I've got a Google Calendar for my business and for myself. And then I've also got an Outlook calendar through Office 365 with Business Station. So when I look at my availability, I don't want it just to check my availability with my business. I want it to check the availability with my work I do with Business Station as well. So then what happens is the availability when it shows on Calendly is available not just from one calendar, but a couple of them. With the free version, remember though, you get one connection. Now, the chances are you've probably only got the one calendar anyway. I've just got a very complicated life and I've got lots of things going on. You might use the Apple's iCloud calendar. You can use that. Exchange through an Exchange server through a corporate entity. Office 365, they all work. Google Calendar is particularly effective. So that syncing is pretty much a killer feature that I absolutely must have. Like, I cannot live without that. A relatively recent setup here is the ability to screen people. So what you can do is, for instance, you can pre-qualify people by asking a question such as, which country are you from? And if they pick Australia or New Zealand or Indonesia, I will say, great, now book your time to catch up with me. That's if I set up a screening. At the moment, I have no screening, so I'm getting all sorts of people from weird and wonderful places wanting to talk to me about their SEO services through there. So if I then start selecting where they're from, they will inevitably then choose somewhere like from Uganda or from India, and they'll say, "I'm sorry, I don't serve that country, your country. Thank you for your inquiries." But I can't help you at this time. So what it'll do is, if they select a country from the list, or an organization size, or a location that I can't service, I can then direct it through to a page on my website, which then explains why they've not come through, why I can't service them. So it's a lot friendlier than just simply having them book and then you having to come back and say, sorry, mate, I don't serve people in Pakistan because, quite frankly, I don't have your time zone, so it's not going to work. Or the other way you can use this is to pre-qualify what people want. So if you've got a team of people who handle your accounts, your admin, and your sales, you can say, who are you looking to contact? Admin, accounts, or sales? They say accounts. What it'll do, it'll direct to your accounts person's calendar. So if they've all got their own calendars and you're in a team, then under your team account, you can then have it direct through to different calendars. So the right person gets booked for the right thing within their availability. So that's on the professional accounts up. So there's a few different pricing options to look at. Very flexible. It's much easier to herd your cats when you can get your team to vote on a time to meet. So you can have a meeting poll, which allows all of them to vote on a variety of times that you've said you're available, and then have your team of 10 people vote on which one they want. And then whichever time wins, that's the time that's going to be, whether they can make it or not. So that's a bit of I've never used that one. I haven't needed to use it, but I can probably see it happening in the future. You can also add a workflow of actions after the booking is made. So for instance, you want to say the booking's been made in 7 days' time, send a follow-up email that says, thank you for making a booking. I hope you had a great booking, or whatever it is. Or if it's after the booked time, you can say directly after the booked time, as soon as the booked time is over, please send an email which follows up and offers a free download or the option to book another session. So you can set those automatically to happen for each one of your calls. So for instance, if someone books a 15-minute call, they end the 15-minute call, you then send them an immediate call message after that to say, thank you for your 15-minute call. If you'd like to book in my full rate private session at $250 for a 1 hour session, please book it in here. And it'll give them the option then to go into your calendar and book your paid time. So you don't have to then do that manual follow-up. You can have it automatically happen from there. And it has things like inserting the name of the person as well, like you saw in Humanitix. So it makes it a little bit more personalized, a bit nicer, rather than just being a very robotic process that doesn't really feel very warm. Now, this is where I'm talking about my client on the Sunshine Coast who does a yoga class. You can either book a one-to-one meeting, so coffee chats, interviews, personal consultations, but then groups you can book for classes and webinars. So instead of using a ticketing system, you would use this to do it. And I'm going to show you how we'll do that in just a second. But as a brief overview, it allows you to say that you've got maybe room for 10 people to be in this yoga session. So as it goes, it says, okay, you've got 10, someone books one, then it shows the next person who comes along that there's 9 spaces left or 1 space left. So once it's full, and then it's just a matter of going ahead with when your next session is. Now, what it doesn't do, it doesn't have the ability to be able to take minimum numbers. So for instance, if you're going, well, I need a minimum of 8 people to make this worthwhile, it doesn't do that. That's sort of putting everyone on a waiting list. So you get 8 people who are all going ahead, booking and paying. And then you say to them, oh, sorry, no minimum numbers. See you later, book again. And then you have to go through this whole refund process. You don't want to have to face that. So what you want to do is be able to have it so that you can just have set times that you're doing set things that are going to happen, whether there's enough people or not. But it's just a matter that more than one person can book in for that time. The collective then is where there's more than one host, but there's one person who wants to book you. So for instance, let's say that it's going to be myself and my web developer. So what happens, myself and my web developer both are in a team with our calendars allocated in our team. What someone can do is they say, okay, for this particular thing, I'm sending you a link that's going to book in both of us. And what it will send them is a calendar that has the availability of both of us. So then we both be booked in at the same time for it as that person is booking. Really clever, but you do have to have your whole team on Calendly. And then there's a round robin, which is particularly good if you've got a sales room and you've got 5 different people who are doing your sales, or you've got like a virtual team and 5 different people are doing support. It'll rotate who the host is. So they'll go in to book a time to get support. It might be Jonathan's turn. So this first one goes off to Jonathan. The second one goes off to Katrina. The third one goes off to Han. And the fourth one goes off to Janine. So it's always evenly rotating around everyone for those support calls to be booked. So it just means that everyone's getting, for sales, everyone's getting an equal opportunity. And for support, everyone's getting an equal allocation of the clients coming through. So it's pretty powerful for a little system. I've already done that one. I don't know why I repeated that screen, but I've got here what the costs are, and this is in US dollars. So $8 US for the essentials gives you at least 2 calendar connections. Most of you, I would assume, are just going to use the 1 calendar connection and the 1 calendar. So it's just 1 booking calendar. Whereas I'm over on the professional thing, and what they call it event types. So an active event type that you see sort of 2/3 of the way down the page. That's what a different calendar would be. So I've got about 20 different active event types that I'm running under the professional license. I'm paying $12 US a month because I've got multiple calendars I need to work with. I've got multiple active event types, so multiple things that people can book me in for on multiple places and multiple business lines. The other thing is too, that red line down the middle, that red line is the accept payments line. So you can accept payments using Stripe and PayPal connected in here. So you won't have to pay a booking fee for any of these bookings to Calendly, but you will have to pay whatever the credit card processing fee is of either PayPal or Stripe. Stripe is considerably cheaper than PayPal, which is why I use them, and it works seamlessly. It collects the money 24 hours later. It tells me, yep, we're sending the money through to you now. It's in your account any minute. And by the time I go and look at it after the email sent, I can see it's in my account. So I had one turn up just today. So it's a really nice way for you not having to chase up and invoice payments all the time. They'll get their receipt from Stripe rather than them having to have special invoices generated. So it's a lot easier. So it's that line from the professional up is where you can accept payments. So $12 a month US. So it works out about $17 or $18 a month Australian at the moment, allows you to collect payments. Now, for what I make out of this, it definitely more than pays for that, because I'm getting $250 an hour consultations on there. So it's making it's definitely a small price to pay for what I'm making out of it. Let's have a look under the hood of Calendly now. So here's Calendly. I'm going to log in. Now, remembering too that I've already got a paid account with them. I'll log in using my Google. So once I'm logged in, and then will show me a list of all the different event types I've got. So for instance, I've got my ClickStarter 15-minute call, which is the 15-minute, initial consultation I give away for free. I've got several ones which are paid. So your story brand assessment and brand guide one, that is a 3 1-hour sessions costing $750. So people can pay that on board. So if I show you this paid one first, so this is the page that they will go to. So it's $825, including GST. I put down, what it all is. Book your first session. We'll take you through the questionnaire to find out what we need to know about your customers and business. At the conclusion, we'll book your follow-up session within 7 days. So they then book and pay for that up front. So they choose, say, 4:30 p.m. tomorrow. They put in their details. They can share anything they want to share. Here's the payment, and they can start that through Stripe. So they don't have integration yet with PayPal's Pay in 4. So if that is something you want to do and Afterpay and all that, they don't have those kind of integrations. But they do have PayPal payments. Whether that's a Pay in 4 will then be up to whether your account allows that. Every time I've tried to do Pay in 4 on PayPal, it just keeps telling me I don't qualify for it. So I've just stopped even trying as a person trying to pay that way, and I'll just go through Afterpay if I need to. Or I've got another one called Select Pay. So people will just get what their invoice is and they send it to Select Pay, and Select Pay pays me. So it's a very different process. But then that allows that payment to go through. So it tells you exactly where it is. And because I'm also collecting their details on the next screen, which is going to include their phone number, they'll also get SMS reminders with that on the paid plans. You don't get SMS reminders until you're on a paid plan. So that's the first type I've got there, the booking that story brand guide assessment. Then have to look at things like the in-person public speaking coaching programs. The main one you'll probably want to look at is one of my free ones, say my 15-minute call. So let's look at the booking page for that. So I haven't got as much detail on this because it's pretty simple. So let's go for next Thursday, and they can pick it at 9 a.m., confirm, and then it's got the details of how we then do that call. And then I've got the text messages thing there where they put their phone number in, so they'll get a text message reminder before it. So it's a nifty little way of doing it. But because I've got that professional plan, it means I can have lots of different options for these different events that I've got running. So, the monthly group session, private one-to-one sessions that I book at full cost. I've got a private one-to-one session discounted over here. My entrepreneurship facilitators initial assessments are run through here. I've got then little ad hoc ones that I run, like little 30-minute catch-ups or 15-minute catch-ups that I'll send out depending on who it's for. If it's just for a friend, say, hey, here's let's grab a coffee tomorrow. Here's when I'm available. I'll send them the link. So people really appreciate it when I send them these links now, because they're able to then fit it into their availability without that back and forth stuff we always have to do. But it gives me then the people who've booked me for different things. Here's the list of things that are booked. So I've got Doreen booked me for this afternoon. I got Cassie's booked me in for an initial assessment on Monday. Sila has booked me in for next Monday as well. So I've got a whole lot of different people who've booked me in at different rates on different kinds of things that I'm offering. The workflows then is where I can go. I've got email reminders that are already there. So I'm allowing an email reminder to go out for all these different kind of events. So right down there, 24 hours before it starts. So I've got all these different ones that I'm allowing them to do. My routing forms then, this is where I set up where I want it to do. So if I want to connect to the right people faster, I'd say, what country are you in? So that routing form would be for me. And I can say, ask a question. With a drop down. What country are you based in? I can say Australia. New Zealand, Indonesia. The majority of my stuff comes to those three. Then I can have another one, other country. And I can make them answer that question, save it. And then what I'm going to do is go, okay, they select that and they go, I'll say I'm in Australia, and that's how it's going to look to them. So I'll submit that, save, have my submit button. I can change that. I can say, send instead of submit. Go next. And then I can add a route to that depending on how people answer. So I can say route to an external URL if in the what country you're based is other country. I can then save the route to go to, say, let's just go to Google, but to a page on my website that would say then they cannot then go on. So save the route and then it goes there to do something. Or I could say that, for instance, that one could be if the what country is Australia. Event type goes to book for the 15-minute call if they're based in Australia if the country they're based in is New Zealand, or the country they're based in is Indo, then it goes through to the 15-minute call button. But I'll say that route, everyone else goes to a custom message that says, thanks for your interest, we aren't able to offer any meetings this time, or whatever you want it to be. Or you can direct them to a page on your website that more nicely explains it and then gives them other options, such as downloading resources and that sort of thing. So that's if you wanted to have qualifications in there. I don't need to have many of those at the moment. I don't have enough outside Australia, New Zealand, Indonesia clients to really worry about that yet, but one day I will. So let's go back now and let's create a new one for you. So we go create, and what we want to do is either have an event, a one-off meeting, or a meeting poll. So I'm going to start with an event type, and it's going to ask me what kind of event I want. So in this case, we're going to do our yoga session, people. So we're going to have one group, one host, so that's me, and the availability of those times for a group of people. So it's going to be an in-person meeting at my yoga studio. So I can write a summary all about that. I don't really need to put anything in there for now. And then the event link, I can make it that. So I go yoga studio. And then I can say I have 10 people can have that. But what I want to do is display the remaining spots on the booking page so that, for instance, and select a color, that if someone books in, it takes it off the number that's available to others, and they can see that there's only a certain amount left. It creates a little bit of that urgency. Once I go next, say it's a 30-minute session. I can make it a 1 hour session, so 60-minute. I can set my schedule when it's on, or I set some custom hours. So these particular sessions, I only hold on Tuesdays. I take out all those other days. Tuesdays between 9:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. So that's the only times they're going to have. But they've recently opened up Thursdays also at after hours. So it's going to say about like 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. So that's now my dates. Now, if I can say that one of those dates on a Tuesday or Thursday is, say, Australia Day, which if we'll check that out, Australia Day is on Thursday. So we're going to say that we need to have an exception to that. So back to here, I can add a date override and go, I know that the 26th is not going to be available. So I'm going to say on the 26th, bin it, I'm not available that day. So save that. So when they go to look for availability, they will not be able to get me at that time on that Thursday, but they can get me on every other one. I can put gaps between things if I want to. If I've got like consultations, I can put a gap of 15, 30 minutes between them. But as I've only got one time I'm offering on each of the days I'm available, I'm just going to go next. Then I can say something like, for instance, the questions I want to ask of them. If I need to ask health questions, I can direct it to certain reminders that they can get. So they can get reminders at certain times, notifications, so they get an email confirmation. They can then handle email cancellations through there. I can also offer text message reminders, which will then add a phone number field to when they're booking. So they can put in and nominate text message reminders that will go out to them. I'm going to say, yes, I want an email reminder. I haven't set an email follow-up. So, but I could have a follow-up and say, hey, love to get your feedback on how your session went and whether you enjoyed it. And then I've got the confirmation page I can set, so I can direct to another page on my website or something. And then I can collect payments. So because I'm set up with both PayPal and Stripe, I'm going to say with Stripe, each session is going to be $25 Australian. I can set in my terms, basically save and close it. I've now got an event ready to go. So what my page is going to look like and the location of my page is this. So you can book me in on the 19th. I've got 10 spots left. So I can confirm one of those. And then I fill out the details. I can send the messages to a certain number. Then they pay for it. So they've then got that particular session. So they pay as you go. So it does have some limitations. You're not able to do like big bulk payments where they buy a certain amount of sessions, then book in each of those sessions. Doesn't have that ability. You would need a proper studio booking system to run that kind of complexity. But that gives you a basic idea of how to run those and run some bookings, I suppose, that are not going to do your head in and not going to cost you a fortune to be able to run, but also collect money for them, because let's face it, we are businesses. So a quick recap with some bad spelling. For classes, a booking system might be enough. For larger events, you might need tickets. Start with the free versions, work your way up. If you grow and you need it, then pay for the extra things. But make sure it always integrates with your calendar. Sorry about the spelling there. So it enables you to be able to get synced availability so you don't get double bookings. The worst thing of these systems is when people are double booked.